Hey, good morning and welcome to UroNurse. I'm your host, Vic Senese, and welcome to the show. We meet every Saturday, 9 a.m. Central Time. Glad to have people on board. And if you're watching us live, great. You can watch us on any of those channels and do hit that subscribe button. Hey, keep subscribing to YouTube because actually, I just won a free pizza. So, something called the High Five Partners. Never heard of it before, but hey, UroNurse, you're on top. We're going to treat you to a free pizza. So, I get something out of those subscriptions. So, anyway, we're getting close to 2,000 subscribers. So, keep it up. Also, if you've never been to our website before, check us out at uronurse.com, the best place to go to learn more about the show. Also, it's the best place to watch all of our past episodes. We've got 103 of them out there. Want to listen to us on your car? No problem. We do have an audio podcast that comes out after the show every week on our UroNurse Plus area. Just go to our website, click UroNurse Plus, and you can pick whatever podcasting system you like to listen to us and have it automatically delivered to your device. I have it sent to my phone every day, every week it comes out. So we got a great show for you today, as I've been kind of pumping us out as a mind-blowing new look at AI and how to produce slides. I think it's really going to be a fun show. And hey, that's because I'm the one who's going to be talking about it. And it's just really kind of a neat thing to be able to talk about the AI because I use it so much in my production value. And I know there's a lot of you out there that might be interested in putting on your own videos or doing this. Maybe, you're a professional in urology healthcare, but you are a little timid about trying to put together your slides, or maybe you do it all the time. I'm going to show you an easy way today on how to make that better. Now, I'm going to be the only one on the show today, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in my slides and let's get right to it. Feel free at any time to put in your questions or comments. I'll try to take those because I'm going to have to be looking at those myself. But anyway, let's get on with the show. Whoops, got to hit the right buttons here. And there we go. All right. So, yep, get ready to be amazed. Updates in AI creation of slides. So, we're really going to be talking about how you create a production and how you can use all these great tools. Now, about a year ago in episode 47 talked about doing this very same thing. And I have to tell you, these things I think were almost like in their infancy. Usually, whenever I have a previous episode, I go back, look at the other episode. I'm going to tell you, don't look at the other episode. Things have changed so much, it's not even worth looking at. And I mean, it takes a lot to blow my mind these days, but this is crazy. So the things that I'm going to be talking about that I use on a pretty regular basis is Midjourney, which is an art program, ChatGPT, and in particular ChatGPT 4. That's the latest version that came out. Poof, crazy. PowerPoint. Those of you that kind of know when I've talked about other times about production, I always do everything in Keynote because that's my go-to place. I love how Keynote works. I'm used to producing in it. But I got to tell you, PowerPoint has a little spice that it's adding that I'm going to talk to you about. Pictory and Opus Clips. I've never talked about Opus Clips, but these are going to be some ways of promoting your show that I thought it'd be worth discussing. So let's get right to it. Let's start with our OpenAI Chat GPT-4. If you don't know anything about it, I think you're under a rock somewhere because it's been the whole, big news product out there. And the GPT-4 is the whole key. Now, again, it's been around for a while now, but this is the mind-blowing thing is how ChatGPT has become so much easier and friendlier to use. Now, one of the things I do have to tell you is in order to use any of these AI things, you have to become a promptologist, not a proctologist, a promptologist. And what is it? Well, you can see the definitions right there, but it's basically you have to learn what words and things are going to get you the best product. The more you play with these things, the better you'll get at it. But it's always good to kind of give the computer some good information about what you want it to do so the AI models know how to kind of process what you're looking for. So let's get right down to the magic. Let's talk about how we use this. So here's my prompt. I'm going to want to create, now, by the way, As those of you that are kind of familiar with the show know that every week I put on a show for the patients called europatient.com. It's the Europatient podcast. And that's a show that I do pretty much myself. Sometimes I have a guest who will also be doing some stuff, but for the most part, I'm producing material every week. It means I got to produce a lot of material. This is what I use to produce a lot of my slides because it just helps get things zipping through. So here's my prompt. I said, create a talk on testosterone replacement. It's going to be coming up pretty soon for male patients, including symptoms, risk, and treatments with a patient as the audience. So now these are some key words there because maybe I want to do this for a group of healthcare workers or physicians or nurses or whatever education level that I'm trying to talk to. ChatGPT is smart enough to produce a slide presentation that's more, or a talk as I'm calling it here, more geared towards a patient versus a healthcare worker. So keep that in mind. So you want to give it, like I said, you have to be a promptologist. Give it the best prompt you can. Now, I'm going to go over here to our show here and bring up our AI so you can see it. And there it is. I put that prompt in, and I'm keeping this going, live action for you guys. I think it's good to kind of see how fast it works. This used to be so slow, I couldn't do it live action because it just took forever. Now, by the way, ChatGPT is not it is a free product, but with restrictions. You can pay for a monthly subscription to get ChatGPT 4.0. Now, I'm kind of a cheapskate. I still am using the free version, which gives me ChatGPT 4.0 for a restriction. So I can only do so many things with it, and then it'll switch me back to the previous version, which is the 3.5. So you can see it's making these slides and it's kind of giving me titles, content, looks like bullet points to me, right? Yep. Um, really doing it. And it's fairly quick. I can tell you, if you had to type this, if you're like me and you had to type this, it would take you forever. I can't type. Never took typing. So we're getting down towards the end. And it's even throwing some questions. But I want to point something out to you as soon as we stop here. So there. So here's a slide. What is testosterone? The title of the slide, the content. But see that word talk? Those are our talking points. That's the important part. Now, if you're giving a presentation, most of us, I think, use what's called the presenter's view when you're giving a talk somewhere, which allows you to put notes in there. You can have your presenter's notes on the slides. Now, the audience never sees that, so it looks really good. Now, if you're doing it like I'm doing it here, where I'm going over the internet, of course, you have no idea what I'm looking at because all you see is what the camera shows. But the talking points are key. I'm going to point that out again in a little bit. So the other thing about ChatGPT 4.0, unlike before, if I wanted to create slides after that, I would have to put the whole prompt in again with the words and produce slides or something along that line. But now you just talk to it. So if you want more information, you can say, give me more information, or can you make it more patient based or simpler? But simple terms work great. So I just said, hey, create slides. It knows I wanted to create slides from. So no problemo. Let's get it over here and let's bring it on. Now you see on the bottom, you can kind of see that analyzing, flashing on and off. That's actually the program going through, figuring this whole thing out. And it's going to actually produce the slideshow for me. That's the whole key. We're giving it this little bit of time. Like I said, I wanted to keep this kind of live action so you get an idea how much time is involved or how little time is involved, because I can tell you to produce this myself, this presentation you're going to see, it'd easily be at least an hour's work. And I do a lot of these. Okay, so here we go. We see it produced it. And oops, the key is right down there. So what it did is it produced the link, download TRT presentation for patients. On the bottom, there's a link. And if you click that link, it's going to bring up the slideshow. Let me bring that up full view here for you. So here's what it looks like. So there's our PowerPoint production. Now, I mean, you might say, okay, hey, Vic, my mind is far from blown from this, but it looks like kind of a pretty simple thing. And I would probably agree with you, but I am going to blow your mind. I promise you. I said I would. PowerPoint now has AI built into it. So if you're familiar with Microsoft, they basically struck an agreement with Chat GPT, the AI people, and they have something called Copilot, and it's being built into all of their stuff now. And I was unaware of this, but I found out that it's in PowerPoint, and I'm going to show you where. So let's go over here. Here's our slides. And first of all, nobody uses 4x3 anymore. So if you go to the design spot, you can change the size of your slide to 16:9 wide format. That's what almost everybody's viewers look like, unless you're watching it on a phone. Now, you saw where I just clicked that designer. Look what it did. It's bringing up design options for you to pick from, including, get this, pictures. So it's kind of looking, I don't know why it chose a skeleton or an x-ray, but it did. Now, I always like to use a darker background when I'm talking online, because for presentations that are online, if you use white, it tends to be a little hard on the eyes. And for if you're projecting somewhere on a screen and you want to be able to see it more clearly, black is a terrible background. You want to use something more in the lighter tones or a white. So I just chose a dark tone and it did that automatically, and it's moving things around. Here's the kind of crazy stuff is all these options it gives you. I hate bullet points, number one. I'm not a big fan of them. So it gives you some options to change those bullets into something else. And for me, I always think anything that's visual is better than something that's not. So we can see how it's kind of showing these things. And there we go. I like that a lot better. And see all these different options you can see there. I kind of like that one where it's dropping down because it's 3 different things that we're talking about: physical, emotional, sexual. That's kind of neat. And this is all being generated by PowerPoint. If you got PowerPoint, you got this. Go to that designer, and it's producing all this. So I kind of like having bullet points where you don't have bullets. I really like these kind of things where it brings these little like a stethoscope and kidneys and things like that. Love those kind of things. That's great. And again, like I said, I wanted to go through this with you step by step and kind of show you how each slide I'm converting. That's kind of neat. You know, it knows it's an injection. It pulled up an injection. I love pictures. As most people who have seen my slideshows, I like very few words and mostly visuals. So I'm really cool with that. The other thing that you may not notice if you don't do a lot of this stuff is it's framing those images. That's a difficult thing to do. If I had to go in there and put each image into the setting, I would have to figure this out and how to get it to go in. So lots of choices. Now, sometimes you're not even limited to what you see there. You can click for more and see. I'm trying to look for something. Here's something I like. I want some red blood cells because we know that it can increase your RBCs when you take testosterone. And there's the picture. And it has different ways of displaying that. You could have it kind of faded out. It'll do all that work for you. Stuff that normally I would have to physically do. Again, here's some other slides here. We're getting ready to change. I kind of like that's a little subtlety, you know, some where we have different what do they call that? Ombre, something like that. I'm not a designer. I'm just a guy who likes to play with these toys. So yeah, this is just really cool. Again, anytime I can find a good image to go along with it, and I'm not doing these images. Remember, this is all being created by the machine. And that's why it's makes it so easy. Look how fast I'm putting together a talk. This would be a talk I could go ahead probably at this point and give. I will say one thing about AI is you have to know the materials to make sure it's good. Now I'm showing you how, for some reason, I don't know why it did this. It made bullets points from the production of the slides, and then PowerPoint put bullet points in. So you had double bullets. So I'm trying to get rid of some of these extra bullets. But again, the point I'm trying to show you here is all this stuff is editable. I could change any of the words just as easily. I'm taking out these little marks here. Some places it didn't really matter, but I just want to clean it up a bit. But see how easy it is to go in there and just clean up, make it the way you want it to look. So you're still designing it, which is what I like. I still like to have the control, but it's kind of getting a lot of the heavy lifting stuff that you have to do. Now, the other thing that's nice is all these images, you don't have to worry about going in with and checking with Google, are these free to be used? Because they are. Now, here's the cool thing. Remember those talking points I told you about? We can copy that, and then we can go over here to where it says um, our our notes, our presenting notes, and paste them in there. So every slide has a talking point. So see how we go to this next slide, we can grab the talking point. Again, warning, make sure you know the content that you're talking about and make sure the AI has actually done a good job of picking out the proper, words to go along with that slide. I'm scared to say it did a really good job. I didn't really have to do much editing at all, but you can. You've got the freedom of going in there and changing whatever you don't like. So I just want to show you what this is going to look like if I was the presenter. So there's the presenter's view. So that's what PowerPoint would show. And that would be our presenter's view. And you can see that I've got the presenting notes right there to read. So this on the left, we see the slide that everybody's looking at. The right is the next slide. Below it is the words that go to the slide on the left. The bottom gives you all the slides. So you can kind of, if you had to zip back and wanted to show a different slide. But you can see, I mean, every one of them, I've got a reading point. So if I'm giving this talk now, I've got at least a good reminder of what I want to talk about so that I can actually talk about it. So, hey, quick update. Since I did this, again, this shows you how fast things go. I decided just for the fun of it, that was a lot of work to go and copy and paste those notes. So I thought, I wonder if Chat GPT could do all that. So I created this prompt: create PowerPoint slides on testosterone replacement for patients, including oral, injectables, gels, and pellets, with talking points in the presenter's notes. Whoa, right? And what did it come up with? Download this presentation with notes. Everything you just saw me take all that time to work and put in and copy and paste, done for me. Didn't have to do it at all. So, again, I can't stress how mind blowing this is. If you're doing presentations, you want to give a talk, this is a really, really good way to shorten that up. Get and really have a great presentation. You want to, at the end of the day, you're trying to entertain people because that's important. Um, so the um, so I want to get back. So in the vein of entertainment, The Magician, sometimes you're limited to what Copilot can find through its Chat GPT. I think the very best way to produce images you can use, you're free to use because you're creating them, is something called Midjourney Alpha. And Midjourney's been around. I spoke about Midjourney in the past, but this Alpha was something that I was privileged to have early access to because I used the program. So you had to have at least 1,000 pictures, and then you got early access. But it's open to everybody now. Now, Midjourney is not free. You do have to subscribe to it, but I promise you that you can't have more fun than playing with Midjourney, learning how to prompt and make pictures. Now, one of the things I warn you about, the difference between Midjourney and Midjourney Alpha, I'm going to show you, this is what it used to look like. And this is something called a Discord server. If you know what a Discord server is, you're probably a nerd. If you don't know what a Discord server is, you're probably normal. Unfortunately, I do know what a Discord server is. And so you have to use a Discord server to use Midjourney in the past before Alpha came out. So it was like a middle ground in between for how to prompt it. No more. You don't have to do that. I'm going to show you real simple. This is now Midjourney Alpha. You go to this little tab up here and you can pick how you want your picture to be produced. I want 16 by 9 because that's what my slides are going to be. The stylization, I put a little style on. Weirdness and variety, I don't, but that kind of makes how close it is to what you prompted to do. And you can see up there, I did put a prompt in where I'm asking it to produce muscle mass, increased body fat. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in my presentation. So I want some image that goes along with that. Again, I'm leaving this kind of real time. This used to be a lot slower. It's a lot faster now. Alpha is a lot quicker. But just to give you an idea what this is really like to watch and see it. Before it would have been like watching paint dry, but you can see it's going through and creating these pictures for me. And you can come up with other prompts if it's not what you like. You can fine tune your prompts. Now you just click it; it'll bring that whole prompt up on top and try again. So I'm trying to talk about how you um, muscle mass. So try to show somebody with low testosterone and what they might look like. Those guys don't look like they got low testosterone, so not really the image I wanted. So just try another one. Again, you could get lost for hours playing in Midjourney. Now I'm getting a little bit more about what I would think would be an appropriate picture. So I like that picture. You click on it, you copy the image. We go into where I wanted to replace an image that I didn't like. Or actually, I think I was going to add this as an image to my talk. So you can always add a slide anywhere you want. So I'm going to throw this one in here. And I'm going to show you some magic coming up here. This is something blew me away because I do this all the time. I put images in. Now you got to make them size to fit the slide. Oh, wait a second. What's Designer doing for me? Holy cow. It's automatically putting different size options for the slide. Wow. Now, I promise you that in the old days, that was something I would have to do manually. That is just crazy. So there I am putting my notes as to what I want to talk about. This is me typing, folks. So you can see why it would take me an hour or so to make a 15-minute presentation. I'm terrible. I can't type worth a darn. A good thing EMR allows me to dictate because otherwise I'd never get my job done. So again, now those weights, I don't really think that was a great picture. I'm going to replace it with one of these muscle men guys. I thought those were better. And again, you can look, I can look at all my past ones I made. Sometimes I've got a good image from before, but I'm going to copy that and now I'm going to paste it in. And now the magic of PowerPoint is, see, it's not in the right spot. I got to get rid of the other image so it doesn't try to compete. But look at what it's doing. It's offering me to put it in that same spot or a different spot. You're the creator. It's your production. You decide how you want it. But this is, I mean, for those of you that do this, you probably realize, oh, wow, this is crazy. Because how long it would take you to do that? Look at even a fading the opacity on the image. Sometimes you want that because it's a nice effect. All these things are right there as an option by Designer. It's just crazy, crazy, crazy fast to do this. And like I said, this is stuff that typically takes a lot of time. Midjourney, I just can't quit playing with it. So let's see. I'm going to put another prompt in here. See that fast typing skill, huh? Male patient talking to his doctors. So I figured that's somewhere probably makes sense. We're going to be consulting about this stuff with your healthcare worker. So let's go ahead and see what Midjourney can come up with. And again, I could have sped this stuff up, but I thought it gives me a chance to kind of talk about it and discuss things. If you have questions, you can put them in the comments. I'll try to take those. I am running the show and trying to talk as the speaker, so I'll be glad to take comments later. But if you want to put something in, if something's pressing, go ahead and put them in there. So here's what we got. A lot of good options here. Sometimes it gets things wrong. I mean, some of these, I don't know if I would want to use necessarily. Now, the one thing I just put up there, and you probably didn't see me do it, is I put down male patient talking to his doctor in Pixar style. Pixar is, they had started off with that movie with Woody, Toy Story. And I love the Pixar style. So you'll see a lot of that in my images. And now I'm looking for something that looks like a patient talking to a patient. Sometimes it looks like a doctor talking to a doctor. Like, you don't necessarily want that. But something a doctor talking to a patient. I like that Pixar style, like I said. Now I'm pasting it in. And again, just let the program do the work. All these different options for where the show, where it wants to put the image. This particular image has a little bit of a border on top and on bottom, which I'm not crazy about. So you could stretch that out. Um, in Keynote, which I'm really good at, I could just change the framing, but I don't know how to do that in PowerPoint. That's probably there somewhere. So I'm just going to cheat and stretch it just to kind of get it off the frame. So if I stretch a little bit higher, stretch it a little bit lower, I'll get rid of those bars on the top and the bottom because I don't really like that look. But that's just me. And again, you're the creator. It's your project. You control it. And lastly, I don't like that skeleton that we're talking about testosterone. I remember kind of coming up with a picture for testosterone picture that I thought made sense for somebody because it's got some pills in it. There we go. And again, I don't have to work at how I'm going to frame that. And look at that, a fade in. It did a transition on the words. So you can have all sorts of stuff through Designer. It's really I'm just touching the surface on Designer because I just started playing with it. And again, not not a big Keynote or a PowerPoint person because I usually design in Keynote. And I'm going to show you the difference and maybe still talk to you why I still like Keynote. I think it's probably just a matter of the next update's going to probably start including that because Apple made a big deal on their recent meetings talking about this thing called AI Apple Intelligence. And I think it's all going to be built in the same. But anyway, if you look at this slide, this is what my normal recording studio looks like. So on the left screen, that's what the presenter's notes look like. On the right screen, that's what the people outside that would be watching it. In this case, it would be a video. That's what the video would look like. If I was giving a presentation, that would be the screen that the projector was showing. So it's kind of I always like to have it myself just so I know it's really what I want to look at. Now, as you can see, that first screen on there where you see that arrow pointing, that's the actual slide that's being shown. On the bottom are all the slides. And then on the right is the script that those talking points that it gave me. That's what's over there. Above it's the next slide to be played. Sometimes it's kind of good to know what's coming up so you keep your brain functioning properly. But anyway, that's where that's at. Now I'm going to show you something. This is what it would look like. And you can take a PowerPoint and open it with Keynote. And that's exactly what I did. I put it on my Keynote because Keynote gives me a little bit more ability to move that those notes. Plus they stand out a little bit better like they're on a note card. You can't do that. I can't figure it out in PowerPoint. Maybe somebody can and tell me how it's done. I'd be glad to know. That circle on the top is my camera. So it's almost like having a teleprompter. So I'm looking at the card. Looking at the card has got my eyes focused on the camera, much like you see right now. That is key to having a good production. You want to be looking at the camera. And that's one of the things that we'll talk about in a future show about how you do all this presentation stuff. But that's why I like Keynote because I can put the card up there. I was not able to figure a way to move it on PowerPoint to have it up above because otherwise I really kind of like the other stuff it does that Keynote's not doing at this point. So let's go ahead and show you what that would actually look like. I'm going to do a little excerpt from the show. If you want to see the whole show, you'll be able to check that out on an upcoming episode. I think it's next week's episode on europatient.com with low testosterone. So it should be worked up. So how is low testosterone diagnosed? If you suspect you have low testosterone, it's essential that you get a proper diagnosis. Now, this typically involves reviewing your medical history, a physical exam, and then blood tests to measure your testosterone level. Important thing about blood testing for testosterone levels, it should be done in the morning because your testosterone has a kind of a natural rhythm to it, and it drops off during the day. It's highest in the morning. Testosterone replacement therapy is designed to restore your testosterone levels to a normal range. Now, unlike the bodybuilders that, take it to try to really build up muscle, we're just trying to get you to what you should normally have because we all read about all the dangers of taking, testosterone supplements, but that's when people are taking this at much higher dosage than they should. There are several ways to administer testosterone replacement therapy. These include injections, gels, patches, and pellets. They all have different ways to work, but they do the same thing. Each method has its pros and cons, and we'll discuss that next. So what are the benefits? Many men will report feeling more energetic and in a better mood after starting testosterone replacement therapy. You might also notice an increase in muscle mass, maybe not quite like this guy, as well as improvements in your sexual function and libido. Remember, I told you it's responsible for that sex drive. Now, while TRT or testosterone replacement therapy can offer significant benefits, it's important to be aware there are potential risks. Common side effects include acne and sleep apnea. There are also more serious risks such as cardiovascular issues and effects on your prostate health. That's why regular monitoring with your healthcare provider is crucial. One of the big problems, sometimes the red blood cells can actually be increased and you have too much red blood cells, and that can be dangerous because too many could cause a clot or something to form. So it's important that if you're being done, having testosterone replacement therapy, that you're being monitored. So it includes testing such as what's your blood count doing, what do your RBCs look like, checking for any issues that could affect your prostate. Testosterone can stimulate prostate cancer to grow. It doesn't cause prostate cancer, but it can stimulate it to grow. So if you had, an early prostate cancer, the last thing you want to do is throw, gas on the fire by giving yourself testosterone supplements. Now, all your physicians that are taking care of you are going to do a great job of monitoring for all that stuff ahead of time. So it's not for everyone. It's typically recommended for men with clinically low testosterone levels and associated symptoms. That's a change. Early on when they started noticing that levels were low in men, they started treating everyone because there was some thoughts that it could improve cardiovascular health and all sorts of good things. Studies have not really completely supported that. And now it's felt that you want to treat people that have a low level, but also are symptomatic. And we talked about all those symptoms earlier. So your healthcare provider will work with you to determine if replacement therapy is the right option based on. Well, there's a little excerpt from that. Just wanted to show you what that looked like. Now, one interesting point, I don't know if you were watching during the video, looking at my eyes where they were at. I decided to record that using the PowerPoint presenter where I've got that, it's kind of skewed off to the side instead of right in the center, like what I'm looking at right now. So the script was making me look a little to the side. Now, whether it's noticeable or not, I'm not sure. You guys can put in the comments what you thought. But I think the one thing that I do hope the take home from that is you can see we're using a lot of video or a lot of imagery using pictures to kind of relay the points. A lot of the talking points, I was able to read the basic message. I always ad lib. I don't think that any time is interesting to kind of read whatever your script. Even if you write your scripts yourself, it's going to just be boring if you kind of stick to it. So you'll see a lot of those were ad libbed in there. But that's the way I roll. And however your way to do it is going to be, not right or wrong. It's just it's you. And always make your presentations your way. So let's keep going on here. So I have a kind of what I call my bonus area. This is like a tip. If you want to go and do this online, and this is what I was kind of talking about right now, these are presentations you put online. You want to get viewers. You have to go where people are looking. So one of the big things that you can do is create shorts and reels. Shorts are YouTube's verticals videos, like a phone, like you see on that little picture on the bottom. These are phone videos. And then Instagram and Facebook use reels. So you want to produce these things from your videos to help to get people to come and look at your channel. They're all like less than a minute long. So that's the whole key. And there is 2 AI systems out there that can help with that. One is called Opus Clip. I've looked at that one before, wasn't really too thrilled with it, but again, all this AI stuff keeps growing and growing. And I have started playing with it more. It's got a free version and a pay version. And Pictory is another one that I did talk about in a previous episode. It's like mind blowing. If you want to create shorts, all the promo clips you see every week are produced in Pictory. It's my kind of go-to for producing stuff because it has its own library stuff. And I'll show you how we kind of use some of those things together. But let's go ahead and
Now, one of the side effects of all that fat is it can also be a source of estrogen which competes with testosterone. So it's kind of like both problems. Low testosterone can cause weight increase can cause higher estrogen levels, which can then lower testosterone. So it can be a mess, but emotionally you might feel down and irritable. And sexually you may experience a decrease in libido or difficulty with erections.
Yeah, so there you go. So you can kind of see how that turned out in the end. A lot of those promos that you see every time at the end of the show, you'll see one at the end of this show are produced through that. Now, I'm going to show you a little magic trick, which I call StreamYard and ChatGPT, because this is one of the ways I produce a lot of my shorts. StreamYard has it built right into it where it's got like they call it a genie. It'll do an AI genie. It'll kind of pick out little 1-minute clips and give you a group of those. Sometimes I use them, sometimes they're not, but it also gives you a way to make your own. And I'm going to show you a trick with ChatGPT. It's going to blow your mind. So here we are. That's the StreamYard, that what we're actually all watching it. If you're watching on StreamYard, this is the behind the scenes. It shows me how it goes into this editor, which allows you to repurpose your current content that you produced. It's a nice editor in that you can see the words. So you can kind of pick that 1-minute section out of using the words so that you get a really good video. And the thing I like is it's showing the whole frame of me and putting the words above my head, which kind of makes more sense than some of these AIs are cutting it. Most of the AI right now that try to make these shorts are looking for people that are doing like interviews where it goes from face to face. And it looks really good when you got two people on. And those sometimes are the ones I use direct. But this one here, I'm trying to make my own. And you can kind of go through and see what it's going to put in there until you find a really good section that you like. And this was one I was talking a while ago for catheters. The idea is I want to create a 1-minute short or less than 1 minute. So that says 48 seconds. And the neat thing is it says publish right there. So you can publish directly to YouTube. You don't have to go in there and upload it. It goes right through this program. So you have to give it a title because it's not picking out the title for you. So I came up with the stiffer floppy because I was talking about the soft catheters versus the stiffer catheters. What is best in a self? Yeah, I know. You got to deal with my slow typing. And then you say publish. By the way, this video had over 500 views the first day it was released. So this was a different one. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of show you. So you can go to ChatGPT and I have this thing I say, write one paragraph on whatever the title is that I use, including hashtags. Hashtags are the way you promote yourself, kind of helps look it up. You put it into your description and ChatGPT is going to write a one paragraph and optimize for YouTube. It really has all the stuff that it's going to look for because YouTube will read through these descriptions and kind of classify how it's going to promote your video. So I put this in there. The hashtags also help to promote your video. I type in a disclaimer so that people, now this is the neat part. I say where I want it to go, not made for children. And you can promote yourself right back to the video that it came from, which is just crazy. So here's a little blow up. Let me bring this up full size for you. This is that page where I put the stiffer floppy, what catheter is best in a self catheter, and kind of talked about this is the description. There it's got my hashtags. And where you see related video on the right-hand side towards the bottom, Euro patient episode 29. So that's the main episode. So you use your shorts to promote your long videos. It's a great way to get your channel to really start getting a lot of views. So that's really kind of one of the secrets that I think has made UroNurse a big success too. So I hope you got some good surprises and some good magic tricks out of this whole thing because like I said, it's amazing how much in a year it's changed. I'm sure it's going to continue to change. If you're someone that really, really found this interesting and really wants to learn more, I'm going to just put a quick note out here. I mentioned this on our 100th episode, but boot camp is coming. UroNurse is going to have a boot camp session First one is going to start September the 4th. I'm looking at different options of how I'm going to do this, but my main option right now I'm thinking is just to have a like a 7 p.m. It's a Wednesday night, once a month episode. Start at 7 p.m. We'll end whenever we finish, but it's going to invite you, instead of just being a viewer on the side that you're viewing, you can actually be on the side that I'm on and kind of see how the programming works from behind the scenes, get a little idea of that. We're going to discuss all sorts of things for how you can be creating your own programming, your own YouTube channel, how you can, what's the best equipment, how do you produce a home studio. We'll take all sorts of questions, and you'll be able to watch it as just a person watching it, or as a person involved, but it will not be broadcast on anything else but the stream. It won't be broadcast at all. It'll be on StreamYard. So the only way you'll be able to watch it is to be on StreamYard. Now, the advantage is you can get on and practice and try some of this stuff out for yourself, but not have to worry that everybody around the whole, 44 countries in the world are watching you make a fool of yourself. So boot camp's going to be a way to practice and learn. Who knows? Maybe someday you'll be a presenter. I hope so. If you have any questions, this is the time to go ahead and put those in, because I'll be glad to take any questions. Let me bring up and see if I've got some comments up here. So let's see. We got Neil saying good morning from Chicago. Good morning, Neil. April, good morning to you too. Diane Clowers, good morning from Seattle. Hey, Diane, I'm going to be leaving for Seattle on Monday, starting our vacation. We're going to be gone for a little over a week, touring the kind of the west side of the country. I have never seen most of those states. We're going to start in Seattle. We're going to Portland, Oregon, Boise, Idaho, Dillon, Montana, Wyoming. We end up in Salt Lake City. We see 6 different states. It's going to be quite a tour. We're driving the way. So I'll be in Seattle on Monday. Tabo, good morning from Marin, California. And Tabo also has, hey, Vic, really cool stuff. I like colorful presentations with less words. Thank you. So do I. I'll try Midjourney to create pictures for my next presentation. Warning, it's addictive. I spent a lot of time. Hey, Tabo, you're going to be a great one for joining boot camp. And who knows, someday you might even be a UroNurse presenter. That invite is open to anybody. I'll be putting more information out coming up starting next month. This is kind of our first little, I'm working out some of the details, but I think it's going to be fun. By the way, I know some people that have no, connection with urology are watching this show because I'm talking about AI. Some of my AI stuff has had fantastic ratings because people are interested in AI. If you want to learn more about presenting like this, boot camp will be for you. You're more than welcome. I'm not restricting it just to healthcare workers. My goal is to get as many people out there comfortable with this format. I really think that this is the future. I think the old, I did doing a lot of research because I'm giving a talk in Florida, in Orlando, for the FAUNA organization, and my talk is going to be about this. One of my talks, anyway. And I've done a lot of research, and you know what I found is people like myself, baby boomers, we're used to going to conferences and going to things where you're live, and it's kind of the way we interact. But next generations, Gen Zs, millennials, they love being able to just consume when they want to consume stuff, just like UroNurse. So I think that we're going to see that, especially going forward. That's going to be the future for presentations. All right. I don't see much going on from comments from everybody. So unless you have any last minute comments or concerns or questions, I'm going to go ahead and switch it over to here we go. I got Charlene. That is right. It's great for the baby boomers also. Okay. Yeah. I shouldn't take away the baby boomers, because of course, look at me. I'm on. Hey, mom, I'm on TV. The baby boomers love it too. I think, the key is it's great. If it's a great presentation, you're putting on high quality stuff, people are going to come and join you. The price tag, free, as my fellow expert, John Lynn, who's on the program quite a bit, says, if it's free, it's for me. We're so used to getting all this stuff for free that it's hard to, pay $600 to go to a conference plus the cost of an airfare and a hotel, and it all adds up after a while. So I think that it's nice to be able to have another way to get this information, and I think it's probably going to see more and more of it. So let me bring in our little promo for next week's show, and this was Pictory, made it by Pictory, and here it is.
The UroCuff test is a non-invasive diagnostic procedure designed to assess the function of the bladder and the severity of urinary flow obstruction. It involves the placement of a cuff around the penis, which is then inflated while the patient urinates. The device measures the pressure and flow rate of urine, providing valuable insights into how the bladder and urethra are functioning. This test is particularly useful for diagnosing conditions like benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, and other urinary disorders. Join us next week at UroNurse.com.
So yeah, be sure to join us next week to learn more about the UroCuff. I think this has got a kind of a unique place to be put in for doing some of this pre-op evaluation for problems like BPH, etc. It's a much simpler than putting somebody through a formal urodynamic study, and I'm interested in learning more about it. So the folks from SRS are going to be joining us and presenting on that. And hey, speaking of SRS, a lot of our presenters also have links to their websites on our on the UroNurse website. Be sure to check that out because they are just a new sponsor, so they're going to have a link so you can get more information on our website from them. In the meantime, hey, I'm going to be on the road next week. I will have a show next Saturday, as I always do. I think I'm going to be coming from Dillon, Montana. I checked. I found a place that said it had great internet. So fingers crossed, because I rely on good internet. We'll see. But I do have a show set up, to come to you next week on that UroCuff. We'll see how everything goes. I'm sure it's going to be great because this has always been a great place to and I'll show a little scenery from my trip. Anyway, have a great summer, everybody. See you next week.